Welcome to the Shootin' Show. Stand by for shots fired.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, and welcome again to this week's Shootin' Show. We have another great show for you. We have some interesting features. Hopefully we're going to give some education that'll be helpful to you. We're so excited about our new Shootin' Show Gun Club. We had a tremendous response from all around the country after we brought it up for the first time on last week's program. Trust me on this one. This is going to be a great thing for all of us concerned as shooters. What we're going to do, we're going to be able to get out in different areas of the country. We're going to meet a lot of you folks that watch our program. We're going to get people out of their homes with their guns and get them down on the range, and let's get them started shooting. Let's show them how the guns operate. Let's show them how to safely handle firearms around their home or around children, whatever it takes. We've got to do it, friends. These people in Washington and some of the people on local levels are so determined they're going to take away every gun that we've got. This assault rifle idea that they have is absolutely ridiculous. One, you and I as the public, the general public, cannot even buy assault rifles without a special federal license. An assault rifle, by definition, is a selective fire weapon. It is not the guns that look like assault rifles, like an AR-15, but they're nothing more than semi-automatic rifles or shotguns or whatever else. And these things have been around since the turn of the century. It is ridiculous to think that taking these guns away from the honest citizen is going to have any effect at all on crime. People are worried about children having guns. Well, wait a minute. My concern is, why aren't these parents watching after these children? You know, a 15-year-old, I don't recall a 15-year-old having rights to rule their household, to say what they are or are not going to do. We've got to have child control or young adult control, not gun control. My goodness, we've got to get hold of our families. We've got to get hold of the situations that cause crime, and guns is not one of the causes. That's ridiculous, because the only people they're going to take guns from are the law-abiding citizens. That's you and me, friends, and those of us who enjoy guns, who work with them, who hunt with them, who protect our homes. See, we're going to be the ones that are going to be out of luck. We have got to get a message to Washington. We've got to get a message to the rest of America. That's why it's so important to please support the Shootin' Show, and the new Shootin' Show Gun Club is going to be a great way to do it. Well, anyway, we've got a great show for you. Let's get another Shootin' Show started. Woo! Blew up a little better than I intended. Now, friends, the first gun we're going to look at today is a new Ruger. They call this the competition target model, and this is a version of the Ruger Standard 22. In fact, this is the Mark II version, which has some subtle differences from the original, made, I guess in the late 40s or early 50s when Bill Ruger first started making these guns. Now, this particular gun has an optional scope mount with it, and we have a scope that we're going to put on the gun in just a few minutes, and it's very convenient, because what we're going to do, we're going to see what the little gun will do. I say little, it's really not a very small firearm. It is a 22 long rifle, but it really is not a small gun. A little error on my part there. Well, if that's the worst one I say today, we'll be in good shape, I suppose. Anyway, it has a target type grip, has a thumb swell or a palm, I guess a thumb rest grip there on the left side. And I don't know if this is standard equipment on all of them. I don't know. It may be. But the wood is real pretty. And personally, I'd just soon have just a standard grip. But since that's what came on the gun, we're going to use it here today. It has really shown some outstanding accuracy potential. And of course, these guns are used in target competition for small game hunting. In fact, with this scope on it, I'm thinking this would be a terrific squirrel gun. Certainly for cottontail rabbits, for all sorts of small game like that, because it is so consistent with this large heavy barrel. The barrel is slab-sided somewhat, and I think it's kind of neat looking. It's a little different from what we normally see on Rugers, but of course this gun has proven to function extremely well, and that's another good point. It is, of course, a semi-automatic handgun, and I don't care what kind of semi-automatic handgun. Typically they will prefer certain types of bullets over others. So as I've said many times on the show before, what you have to do, you have to take your semi-automatic, be it a 45 like this Ruger P90 or this Ruger Mark II competition model here, target model. You've got to take it out to the range and find out. You just can't go buy a box of cartridges and say, well, that's what I'm going to shoot, if you don't try it. You've got to try several different types, because all these guns will typically be just a little different. The Rugers will shoot a little differently, or maybe have a different preference than, say, the Brownings or the Smith & Wesson or some of the other 22s. As far as rugged reliability goes, it's pretty much typical of Ruger products. And, you know, we work with all different brands of companies here, and I like a lot of the products by a number of different manufacturers. But one thing that people have to admit about Rugers, they are ruggedly made. Their materials that they use are real good. And I heard, several years ago that it was either in Rhodesia or South Africa, during a time where, there was an import or export embargo to Rhodesia and South Africa, for that matter, due to some of their government policies. Anyway, they couldn't buy parts. Some of the training ranges or shooters had some of these guns, possibly even used by the government as training guns. And I understand now that, and again, this is something that I read, that some of the original Ruger standard 22s had as many as 1 million rounds fired through these things without breakdowns. Now, wait a minute. 1 million rounds is fantastic. So, but knowing how these guns are made and knowing the reputation that Ruger has really built over many years, it's not too hard to believe. But my gosh, 1 million rounds, that's fantastic. Of course, to a congressman, 1 million, maybe, if you made that $1 million, well, hey, that's no money, but it is to us, believe me. But these are terrific guns. They are so rugged and reliable, and in fact very well made. This one is stainless steel. So what we're going to do, we have several different, we have some Lapua target ammunition, we have some CCI green tag, we also have some dynamite or dynamite, ever how you say that, Noble or Nobel, whichever, you know what I'm talking about, some target ammunition here, and we have a couple of others. And we're going to be shooting that on our paper target in just a moment with the scope. And let's see what it'll do. We're going to go ahead and bench rest it. But friends, these are tremendous trail guns as well as target guns. And with the right ammunition, again, if you know your gun and realize that it is a semi-automatic, and any semi-automatic can jam. For that matter, any repeating gun can jam. And probably there are ways to jam single shots, and we'll probably find it before we're through here on the show. But any semi-automatic, if you get a misfire with a 22, wait just a minute and be sure it's not going to be a hang fire. And after you've given it a reasonable amount of time, you have to know when to pull that slide back here, or the bolt in this case, and load another round. So that's something that you have to be ready to do anytime you're shooting a 22 automatic. Now, these guns are probably among the most reliable 22 semi-automatics that have ever been made. But we've managed to find a couple of types of ammunition that even this Ruger didn't like. So again, you have to go through several different brands, several different bullet profiles to find out what they really do like. Well, let's take a look at it up close.
Awesome firepower. Precision rifle skills. That's what you'll find along with lots more in these two great new videos, Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. See an actual firepower demonstration of the latest Marine Corps weapons of the infantry, including the M220 Echo-Tow missile system, grenade launchers, mortars, and lots more. Plus the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, an incredible display of precision rifle handling skills by the most respected and admired rifle squad in the world. Two great new videos for one low price, just $19.95 through this special TV offer. Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. Two videos for the price of one. Call and order yours right now.
Call toll-free with your credit card ready, 1-800-942-8273. By ordering today, you'll receive this 32-page gun video catalog absolutely free. So order now, 1-800-942-8273. Call now.
Now, friends, you can tell it is a fairly large 22. You'll notice the slab side on the barrel, the flat places there, and of course, this scope mount, which takes the standard Ruger rings, is detachable. And you have some little screws there that go in the holes, but you can tell it comes with very fine adjustable target type sights. You can see how clear, in fact, that front sight is. It's somewhat undercut, a typical target type sight. The wood is so pretty on this gun. Of course, you have a manual safety right here. Goes up for safe, down for fire. And here is your slide release right here. Pull our bolt back, and if I can get it in place there we go. And of course this releases the slide. And of course your ejection port over on this side. Very nicely finished. Of course you can tell just what a nice job the good folks at Ruger have done. Now, friends, you can see since this is a Mark II, it has the 10-round magazine. Of course you have a little button here on the side that makes loading somewhat easier. Ranch Products also makes a little loading assist there that we ought to show you folks, but and we will at some point. But again, the very, very fine Ruger competition target. Now then, friends, we've got our paper target here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make some small targets. And when we're shooting with a scope, you don't need a very big target. You need something that's small so you can aim precisely. Just a little something. Of course, we're just going to shoot at 25 yards. And we'll make several here to try some different types of ammunition. And if we use them all, great. If we don't, that's fine too. But let's go ahead, and we're going to take our scope, and it mounts very simply on this little gun. Of course, the standard Ruger scope mounts here, and it'll just go right in place there. Now, we have chronographed several different loads out of this little gun. I keep saying little gun when it's really not. That must be about a 7 or so inch barrel on this thing. But anyway, velocities have shown up awfully good. In fact, velocities out of this gun are showing nearly what we're getting out of 22 rifles with barrel lengths of around 20 inches or so. It's pretty amazing. The standard high-speed loadings for this gun have been running about 1,150 or so feet per second. And heck, in a full-size rifle, a lot of them only go like 1,200 or 1,250, so you're really not giving up much at all in velocities. The CCI Stingers have shown up extremely well. We've chronographed the Stingers at about 1,450 feet per second out of this little gun. And of course, one thing that's important, of course, I have mounted the scope here. You have this is a real neat system that Ruger has. You definitely want all your scope mountings tight. Now, you don't want to break the screws, but the little screws on top that between the two halves of the mount and also on the side here, they've got to be snug. They need to be, don't break them, don't strip them out, but they need to be tight so your scope won't have any chance to move around with you as you're shooting it. So now let's bench rest it and see how it does on paper at 25 yards. Friends, we're going to go ahead and we've mounted our scope here obviously a few minutes ago and put the magazine in the base. Be sure it is all the way in, and of course load the gun and be sure. And you know, we were looking at the gun a few minutes ago and I didn't have my shooting glasses on, which is real rare. If we're shooting anything at all, of course our guns were unloaded, but we're not going to shoot right then. Always, even with the 22, friends, you need to have shooting glasses on when you start to shoot the gun. It is so important. On a semi-automatic, those little hulls come out of there at a fast pace, and of course you have unburned powder and different things. There's just no need in taking a chance. So please, and even with 22, hearing protection is still critical, because these things are louder than we realize. On a decimal meter, they show up a lot higher than we would normally think. So please, let's always wear hearing protection and eye protection when we're shooting anything. Certainly anything that has gunpowder in it. With pellet guns, we always wear eye protection, no hearing protection, of course. But anyway, let's shoot the gun. Off our sandbag rest here, load it, pull the bolt all the way back, let it go, as you know, and we'll apply our safety and we'll get set. Let's take a couple of shots here. In fact, we're going to do 5-shot groups of everything, and let's see what it does. Okay, that looked pretty good. And be sure your rest is good and solid. I like this one because I can stand up and shoot and get relaxed and squeeze very carefully. Get the gun real steady and squeeze or press. And that's what we really do. We press the trigger. And certainly sometimes we call it squeezing, but that's what in fact we do. We press it until it lets go. So let's take another one with CCI green tag. All right, and between now and when we look at our paper target, we're going to shoot several groups with 2 or 3 different kinds, in fact several different kinds of ammunition. And let's see what the gun does on paper in just a minute.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Now friends, you'll notice there's a difference in our lighting here. Yesterday afternoon we were taping the first part of the piece on this Ruger competition target model. We absolutely just ran out of time. In fact, we shot right into almost absolute darkness, so I'm surprised we got as good a groups, I guess, as we did. But we haven't had this little gun I say little, it's not little. I'm thinking, of course, 22, but we've had this gun just a short time, and unlike anybody else, I'm still learning about what it likes and what some of its operational characteristics are. But let me tell you, it is real good. And as we're going to take a look in just a moment, the groups we shot I think will be most impressive. The gun, of course, has a heavier trigger than most of us would desire maybe on a target gun, but Ruger does that for liability reasons. They just do not want to contribute to an accidental discharge. They're going to put enough pressure on that trigger where it is not going to go off until it is a definite press or a definite pull. I would guess it's probably 4.5, 5 pounds of trigger pull. It's very crisp, but someone who's going to use this gun in competition will have, that's the first thing they'll have done to it. They'll have a trigger job done on it. And typically Rugers come with slightly heavier triggers, and it's for the liability reasons. That's exactly why. Because Ruger, if they can build a gun like this, they can build a trigger in any way they want to. But just for liability standpoints, they feel like they have to put heavier triggers on them. Anyway, heavy trigger or no, I think you're going to be impressed with what the gun did. So let's take a look at that right now. We've already taken our caliper here and our pin, so let's look at our target up close. Now then, friends, as you can see on our target, the Ruger really shot some impressive groups. And truthfully, at 25 yards, scope or not, with the stock trigger, the stock gun, this is probably about as well as I can shoot. You may get a better shooter who will come along and do much better than this, but we thought this was outstanding performance. We used several different types of ammunition. As you can see, this is CCI green tag here, which is a target ammunition, and it went into 5 shots at 55 hundredths of an inch. Now realize this is at 25 yards. We used some Ely target ammunition, 72 hundredths of an inch for 5 shots. And we didn't just shoot this gun and get the best of several groups. We put 5 cartridges in the gun and then we shot it just like that. So this is one group with each brand of ammunition. The Dynamite or Dynamic Noble RWS target ammunition went .91 hundredths of an inch there. Good performance. The CCI, the Stingers, went into 1.19 inches. Typically your higher velocity, ultra high velocity, does not perform quite as well in grouping at longer ranges as does the target ammunition, but still at 1.19 inches at 25 yards, you could definitely hunt squirrels with that Ruger competition target model. All right, the small game bullets showed up extremely well. This is, in fact, a hunting load. This is something a lot of us are are using in our 22 rifles for small game hunting. And 5 shots there, 3 in one hole, 2 in another, 57/100ths of an inch for the 5 shots. The Lapua target ammunition went 62/100ths of an inch. So friends, what can I say? The CCI green tag really showed off at 55/100ths, and again, quite possibly with a trigger job, lightening the trigger on there, and maybe a better shooter, and continuing to search for ammunition. There's no telling what the little gun may do. We tried a couple of other brands of ammunition on different targets, and the Federal high velocity looked awfully good in about 6/10ths of an inch for 5 shots. So again, most impressive performance. Now friends, you know, we're always saying here's a gun you should definitely take a look at. Well, I think this is a case of another one. You know, a lot of things that you don't see on our program, a lot of things come through here that don't necessarily work as well as they should. So if we have a particular problem item, we'll give the manufacturer a chance to fix it or send us another one or whatever else. But the things that you actually see here on the program do in fact work. And it's our job to recommend or show things on how they really work. As I'm often saying, someone who's a better shooter than me can come out here and do better groups or whatever else, or better times. Someone who is worse won't do as well. What we try and do, as most of you know already, is give a basic rendition of what the average shooter will do and take it from there. If you don't practice at all, well, you won't do as well. And if you practice a whole lot more, well, you'll probably do a lot better. So this Ruger Mark II, how about competition target model, is one of the most accurate 22s that I've ever fired. The potential is just tremendous. And what they've done, here's a stainless steel gun, that a very low maintenance gun that literally you can squirrel hunt with or hunt small game with, or you can compete with. And those of you who would want to use one of these, they're not that expensive. That's a beauty part about some of the Ruger products. They're not, comparatively speaking, not terribly expensive for certainly the value you get. So this would be one, if you want a super accurate 22 long rifle handgun, well, this would definitely be one to take a look at.
And now, friends, let's hear from Kurt Vickers, associate producer of The Shootin' Show and chairman of our new Shootin' Show Gun Club.
Hi, I'm Kurt Vickers, and I have the pleasure of working with Johnny Rowland on The Shootin' Show. I'd like to talk a little bit about our ideas for the Shootin' Show Gun Club, but I also want to emphasize that we're looking for your input. The whole idea behind this club is to bring in all levels of gun enthusiasts. Most of us don't go to the big matches, the kinds that you can buy videotapes for, that we even sometimes feature on the show, because we already know that the big name professional shooters are the ones that are going to win. It's just a matter of which one. Our object is to get everyone out there shooting and having a good time meeting new people. Johnny and I have been traveling the country visiting shows like the NRA convention, the Soldier of Fortune convention, the SHOT shows, and also some regional matches, and I can tell you that we meet the nicest people there. And I think everyone should share in these kinds of experiences, and that's what we're hoping for. We also want to get more people involved in the fight to protect our Second Amendment rights. As everyone is well aware, they're constantly being threatened, and we need to do as much as possible. We're planning on a newsletter that will not only promote the clubs or gun shows or gun clubs, gun stores, whoever wants to sponsor the local matches, but we'll also try and keep everyone informed about any legislation that threatens our gun rights. I'll be coordinating this effort for the show. We've already heard from a surprising number of people who want to become involved, and that's great. Once we have a large enough number, we'll begin printing lists in the newsletter, hopefully organizing them by large regions or large general regions. And then as our numbers grow, we may be able to make the regions smaller and more numerous. As soon as we can start promoting shooting matches or just get-togethers and gun shows, we'll begin announcing them on the shooting show itself and also in the newsletter. Now the newsletter may be slow to start, but once we get rolling, I think we have the potential for a great club for all of us. And don't forget, membership entitles you to anything in the Bullet Express catalog at cost plus 10% and shipping and handling. We'll constantly be trying to expand the number of items that we have available in the Bullet Express. The only items that we can include in this offer are the security items that are featured in our black box. And even for information about those items, you'll have to call to receive the special catalog that just lists those items. The sooner you join, the quicker we can become organized. And Johnny and I look forward to hopefully being able to attend some of these regional get-togethers to feature them on the show and of course feature them in the newsletter. And just to sponsor good fellowship among all of us shooters. So get to those phones and get all your friends to join. Start thinking of things you want to do to get together. Up in the northeastern region where I am, it's a little cold for outdoor matches, but that doesn't mean that we can't have some indoor activities, or as I said, sponsor some local gun shows just to at least get people meeting together, discussing various aspects of guns and shooting, and of course legislative things that are coming up, and to help spur each other on to write to our senators and congressmen and local representatives. So from everyone here at the shooting show, I'd like to say goodbye for the moment. But again, I encourage everyone to join as quickly as possible. The sooner we get this club going, the sooner we'll grow, and the sooner we'll all be having a good time at it. Thanks a lot.
You know, friends, Kurt is exactly right. We need everyone who watches this program and all their friends and their family members. We need everybody in the Shootin' Show Gun Club. You know, whether you like AR-15s or large single-action revolvers or compact semi-automatics or whatever else, black powder, you name it, anything that shoots, well, look, we have a place for you here in the Shootin' Show Gun Club. You know, friends, the people in Washington and even some of the people on local levels are so much further along than most of us realize. And let me tell you what, they're going to take these guns away. And the problem is, if they took them away from the criminal, it'd be one thing, but they won't. They'll only take these guns away from you and I, the honest citizen, who need these guns. As we've talked about on the program before, my gosh, in a breakdown in society, which occasionally happens, a riot, a hurricane, or whatever else, the honest citizen is there left to his own devices. And believe me, you can defend your home if you're properly armed and you know how to use these things. Well, what we're looking so forward to doing is going around the country and meeting you folks, the people who watch our program that we hear from every week. And you know what? I think we can make a difference, because this is what has to be done. We can fight all the battles in Washington that we want, and this is necessary. It's important and needs to be done. But you know what? We have to win in the hearts and minds of Middle America. The people out there who are watching this program, the people who don't know about this show yet, because that's another thing the Shootin' Show Gun Club is going to do. It's going to help us here at the Shootin' Show to reach more people, to do more things that we sincerely need to do. An added byproduct, when you pay your $25, and we do take Visa and MasterCard, or you can write us a personal check, whatever you want to do for your membership dues, you can buy, giving us the number, you'll be issued a membership card with your own personal number on it. And if you give this number to the operator, you can order anything in the Bullet Express for cost, our absolute cost, plus 10% plus shipping and handling. And as Kurt mentioned a moment ago, we have to exclude the things in the black box, because that's a little different deal. But not only limited to the things in the Bullet Express, but whatever we can get from different wholesalers. And there are vast numbers of wholesalers out there that are willing to work with us. We'll be happy. And we don't want to make the local gun shop people mad. By all means, no, because we count on them for support. We want to help them. If you have an FFL, a local gun shop, and you want to buy something from the Bullet Express, we'll ship it to you at our absolute cost plus shipping and handling. If we get a discount, we'll pass that on to you. But friends, it is so important what we're doing. The people in Washington are dead set to disarm us, the American public. Now, you know, I just associate a lot of freedom with owning these type guns, or any gun for that matter. You know, friends, as responsible citizens, I don't think there's any reason why you and I should not be allowed to own these guns like this AR-15 or Colt Sport or whatever you want to call it. But friends, there are people that are literally determined to take these away from us, to take our rights away from us. You know, throughout society, This is what we're really, and what scares me is the final outcome. There are a lot of people who think that they know better than you and I what is better for you and I. They want to make those decisions for us. Well, I don't want that. And a lot of us out around the country also don't want that. We want to retain the entire Bill of Rights, not just the Second Amendment. But let me tell you what, the Second Amendment is what keeps the other 9 amendments of the Bill of Rights in working order. This is what ensures that we're going to continue to have the Bill of Rights, is in fact the Second Amendment. So friends, come on now, join the Shoot and Show Gun Club. I think you're going to enjoy being a member. You can get some bargains on different shooting supplies, all kinds of things that we can get through the Willard Express. And please, our number, of course, is 800-895-7916. You can call and join. You can write to us and join. Our address, of course, the Shoot and Show Gun Club, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our zip code 71104. Because, friends, we are going to make a difference. So please, that 800 number again, 1-800-895-7916. Please let us hear from you. If you have a gun club that would be willing to sponsor a shooting day for us to come to your local area there, and we can promote an all-day shoot or whatever that we can arrange with a local gun club, please let us hear from you, because we want to do it. Well, friends, we hope to be seeing you soon out all around the country. And hey, come on now, let's join this thing. Let's get it going. Let's get it off the ground. It's got to be done. The Shoot and Show Gun Club. Stay tuned for more of the Shoot and Show after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Hi, I'm Bill McIntyre with another update from Capitol Hill here at NRA headquarters in Washington, D.C. One of the most exciting hunting programs available is coming to a city near you. The Great American Hunters Tour offers an evening of experts who talk with hunters about planning, tactics, and equipment. Everything one needs for a successful hunt. A big attraction at tour stops is the Great American Whitetail Collection. It is a stunning collection of replica antlers representing some of the most famous and highest-scoring whitetails in the world. Dick Idle, a noted whitetail expert and frequent tour speaker, said the collection represents a collage of the greatest whitetails in the world and epitomizes the dreams of every whitetail hunter in North America. Last year, the Great American Hunters Tour reached more than 40,000 hunters in 60 cities covering 37 states. This time around, the tour will cover 100 cities coast to coast to reach an estimated 75,000 hunters. The list of speakers include Judd Cooney, Ron Dube, Dick Idle, Ray I, Bill Bynum, Paul Newsome, Gene Wenzel, Jim Zumbo, and John Wooters. For more information on the 1994 tour, call 1-800-492-HUNT. That's 1-800-492-HUNT. On the legislative front, threats to hunting continue. Congressman Lehman and Senator Feinstein have introduced the California Desert Protection Act of 1993 despite the defeat of a similar bill last year. Passage would close over 7 million acres of land to practical use by hunters and also ban motorized access to the area, resulting in an outright ban of hunting in some areas. Subcommittee hearings on the Senate side are complete. A bill to ban the use of dogs to hunt bear in California was defeated 4-3 in the Senate Natural Resources and Wildlife Committee. The bill was viewed as an attempt by anti-hunters to eventually ban other forms of hunting. Hunting opponents may feel some heat from Senator Burns. S-187 would protect hunters on federal lands and establish civil penalties for anti-hunters who intentionally obstruct or interfere with the conduct of a lawful hunt. The bill has been referred to Committee on Energy and Natural Resources, which is chaired by Senator J. Bennett Johnson. Similar bills have been introduced by Senator Orrin Hatch and Representative Bill Brewster. Representative Brewster has also introduced H.R. 2207, a bill to amend the Endangered Species Act of 1973. It would enhance wildlife conservation and protect fishing, hunting, and trapping. And Representative Dave Camp is trying to designate 1 week in November as National Sportsman's Instruction Week. I'll be back next week with another update from Capitol Hill.
You know, I've been using this old-fashioned coffee pot for more years than I care to remember. Truth is, sometimes you just can't improve on the original. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham, but adding a good scope to your favorite hunting rifle is one improvement that's a big plus in my book. Sure, choosing the right scope and having it mounted properly isn't as easy as flipping a flapjack. Be sure you get the job done right. See the real pro in your community.
Now, friends, for the absolute best in monthly shooting magazines, turn to Shooting Times magazine. They have all sorts of excellent features on handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powder by some of your favorite gun writers. Each month you'll find interesting articles on guns, shooting, reloading, and new products in the firearms industry, along with information on pending legislation certainly of interest to all gun owners. For subscription information, call 1-800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is.
The videotape you are about to see is based on over 30 years' experience in teaching the use of small arms to civilians, police, and military personnel. Eugene Sockett's credits include Chief Shooting Officer of the Israeli Army, assigned to the Paratroop and Infantry Command, author of many training manuals on military small arms training, including the Uniform Shooting System, the standard Israeli Defense Forces manual on the subject, a member of the Military Department of the World Institute, a Jerusalem-based think tank, service with the Israeli police during the 1973 Mideast War, trainer of guards in the Israeli prison service, expert on small arms training to the Israeli Ministry of Education, as well as the Transportation Cooperative, expert witness to the Israeli courts, military small arms columnist for Defense Update International, and self-defense columnist for Romach magazine. His articles have appeared in Gun Digest and the Jerusalem Times, as well as many other publications. Gene has drawn on this wealth of experience to bring you what we hope is a very informative, different, and entertaining tape. Ladies and gentlemen, we present Eugene Sockett.
Whenever I go in a shooting range, it brings back thoughts of the years that I had contact with Commando 101 and different Israeli commando units. A man named Shlomo Baum in particular, who was a deputy commander of Commando 101, and Eric Sharon's deputy. Eric Sharon was the head of the unit. And I remember asking them, and asking him in particular, what exactly is it that's important to pick a commando to make what the Israelis called a fighter? They actually used the English word, fighter. And I said, what makes a fighter? And they said, the man counts. The man is the most important thing. Not his weapon, maybe not even his training. The mindset of the man. And this is true because most of us are very civilized people, and we don't really want to do violence and combat, even when it's for self-defense. And we have a disadvantage against the terrorist and against the criminal. In the Middle East, we have terrorists who are brought up as children with the idea that to kill the enemy is a good deed. And when they're covered in blood after stabbing someone in the street, they can come home and have their family dip their hands in the blood and put it on their faces and dance for joy around the room. Something very different from the background of most of us. Or you have criminals in prison here in America who learn all the basics of killing, murder and rapes and muggings, and they have no qualms about it. And all of a sudden the average person has to come up against them. So the mindset of the person is critical, and the mindset of the average person is critical, so that we have some sort of an advantage against them, or at least an equal situation. The average man is not a fighter. The average man can be a fighter, can become a fighter. There are some that are born fighters, but there are no absolutes. I'll give you an example. You have competition shooting. These Israeli fighters don't run around with comp guns and fire light loads in their practice. If you took them here to this range to shoot against your club, the chances are, not only them, but most fighters around the world, they might not even come in 1, 2, or 3 in your club shoot. But that doesn't mean anything, because the truth is that when the flag goes up, they don't hesitate. If I had to pick going against the 2 top shooters in any club in the country, or going up against one of the men in Commando 101, or some of the other units, I would unhesitatingly pick the 2 guys in the shooting club. Because while they were contemplating what to do, the other one from 101 would have already done it. That's called mindset. So there are no absolutes. The range helps you, it helps all of us, but it doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to perform in combat. There are people that brag, that walk around. You see them in combat units too. The word is that the minute the shooting starts, they're usually the ones that fall apart first. There are quiet guys that sit around, and they're the ones that perform. So there are no absolutes. There's no way of knowing totally how someone's going to do. I read in a lot of American gun magazines about a thing called, and I'll say it wrong, probably, tachypsyche or tac psyche or something of that sort. It's when pressure hits you, and the minute you enter a combat situation, you have what's called tunnel vision. You have what's called auditory exclusion, where you can't hear anything on the side. You may not see anything on the sides. All you see is the enemy. You're rushing forward towards the enemy. You may feel an adrenaline surge. Your hands get wet. Some people say you'll get cold. I've heard people say that's an absolute. It always happens. It's not true. I've spoken to men who have not been in 1 or 2 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 firefights, but have been in 70 or 80 or more. In fact, some I know have been in 500 or 600. The important thing is to get confidence in yourself, confidence in your weapon, and most important, 90% of it, the correct mindset.
Well, I have my safety glasses on, and I'm just buckling up my gun belt. This is a rig that I've used in Israel, and it's nothing special as far as the quality of all the leather and all the accoutrements go, but it's a good rig. It's basically a belt over a belt. I like that particular system because I'm in and out of the house. I live on a farm, and I don't want to carry guns all the time on me inside the house. So I wear a belt over a belt. I have a gun belt underneath, and that's important because you have to have the pants held up by a good solid leather belt. And I put this belt over it. And I have over here a keeper. This is just a homemade one, but you can buy leather ones with Velcro or snaps. That's perfectly fine, and it holds the belt on. You could put another one over here if you want to. This particular system is very good because when I want to take this holster out, I can. I have a clip here. Now, I know a lot of people say clips aren't good, and you don't have to use a clip. You can use a regular holster with leather. But sometimes, when I want extreme concealment and I want to wear a T-shirt out, I actually can put a T-shirt over this rig. And I found, for me, and again, how you carry guns is very, very subjective. But I found for me that I can put the belt on the belt and the gun in between the two, and it's very rigid. I don't have any movement of the gun. The 2 belts almost act as if they're a holster. When I wear a jacket, of course, I have it like this, and I may move this further back. The truth is, where I live and where I'm going, I don't mind if a little bit of the gun shows. I like deterrent effect, but I wouldn't recommend that in a large North American city or in Europe or a place like that. But this is how it goes. I'm using the forward holster over here. This is my main gun. You can slide right down and get it. It's cocked and locked. I usually carry 2 guns. I have another one here on the side. I carry 2 magazines. These magazines are fast. They're not as secure as the regular type of magazine holders, which are like this. These are better. But I'm carrying these because if I need a fast reload, I'll take the risk of having less security because I do have backup magazines, and I carry 2 here and 2 more here. That's 6 magazines and a brace of 45s, which is what I told you I carry. Now, some people may say that's kind of silly, but it's really not, because in today's world, the chances where I live, and possibly becoming more and more where you live, you're up against teams of terrorists or teams of criminals, and they're well armed. And if you have to be in a shootout, if you should have that misfortune, you better have enough ammo on you. Also, the most important thing is uniformity. Both guns are Colt 45s. Both carry the same magazines and the same type of ammo. If I have a problem with one gun, if it's knocked out of my hand in a fight, or I have the misfortune of a broken firing pin or something of that sort, I have immediately a second gun. If I have a jam, I have a second gun. And the fastest reload, there's no doubt, is a backup.
Now, friends, trust me on this one. If anybody ought to know about self-defense, it is the Israelis. And we've been watching a short excerpt of Secrets of Gunfighting Israeli Style, and this entire tape, which is, of course, much, much longer. We've only just seen a few minutes of it here today, but you can get it from Paladin Press, Post Office Box 1307, Boulder, Colorado. That zip code's 80306. You can call them. This is what to do. Call them and get a catalog, and tell them you saw it on the Shootin' Show. Their phone number is well, it's 800. How about that? 800-872-4993. Again, 800-872-4993. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. And now, friends, we're going to finish the piece we started last week in comparing some shooting times on 4 different types of guns here. On the top right on your screen, we have a Ruger P90 45 ACP decocker double action automatic. On the top left, we have a GP100 Ruger 357 Magnum double action revolver. On the bottom left, we have a Colt 45 semi-automatic, single action certainly. And on the bottom right, we have a Taurus selective double action 9mm semi-automatic. So let's take a look at their times in shooting.
Now, friends, we have circles drawn on our 3 paper targets here, and I'm standing at 21 feet, 7 yards away from the targets. So I have the timer, and I'm going to let it start me. I'm going to start from the low ready position, and I'm going to attempt to put 3 shots in each of these 3 targets from this distance as rapidly as I can at an accurate rate. We're going to start with the Ruger P90. We're going to check it to see if it's loaded, and yes, it is. And we're shooting full-powered ammunition here. We're not going to be shooting target ammunition, but full-powered ammunition, so this will give you some idea of what you may expect doing this yourself. Again, I'm the average shooter with a little bit of practice. So let's just see how it looks with me doing it today. Let's see what kind of hits we get and what kind of time we get. Okay, we've got our timer on here. My hearing protection is good. Punch our timer, get in position. And the first thing I did, of course, was decock it. All right, that took 1.92 seconds. So we'll write that down on our board here. The Ruger, 1.92 seconds. really not a bad time, I don't think. Some of you would do this a lot quicker. And some of you, of course, would do it a lot slower. So I'll be somewhere in the middle. All right, we have pretty good hits here. We're going to go ahead and tape our targets. And yes, I did have a hit here. All well within the circle here. All right, friends, now we have our selective double action or selective action TARS here. Of course, we'll load the gun, pull that slide all the way back, and let it go and apply our safety. And we're going to decock the gun. And let's try the same drill we just did with the Ruger with our TARS. All right, we'll punch our timer. Well, 1.89 seconds with the 9mm. And of course, we have applied our safety, and we'll let our hammer down. All right. Our TARS, 1.89 seconds. All right, let's try our Colt. All right. Same drill with our Colt, and it is loaded, safety applied. So let's do that. Well, that took me 2.01 seconds. So you can tell there's such a little difference. Well, if we've got a revolver, we're going to try. All right. Our Colt, 2.01. All right, friends, we have our GP100 revolver here, and let's try the same drill we just tried with the automatics and see how long it takes in comparison. In my hands today, anyway. Okay, folks, get ready. Well, how about 1.91 seconds? So let's tape our target. Now, friends, you can tell the point of this was that any one of these guns, regardless of action type, are so close. In fact, I thought I'd probably be faster with the Colt because I shoot it probably more than the others. But I was only 1/10 of a second away. My fastest time, slightly, was with the 9mm TARS. One, I didn't have as much recoil to contend with as with the 45, but heck, 2/100ths of a second away or 3/100ths of a second away from the Ruger 45. Maybe it's just me, and maybe I was just slow getting my safety off on the Colt, who knows. But all of these, and the revolver, in fact, was only 2/100ths of a second away, so with a much more, little more recoil there, certainly in the GP100. So the point of this is, it doesn't really make a lot of difference on which action type you choose if you're willing to go out there and become proficient with it. This position, all four of them could have different numbers the next time I do this. And realize that we're shooting for hits. I could see my sights on every shot. I knew where that bullet was going every time I fired the gun. So it just doesn't make a lot of difference. Some people say, well, the 45 automatic is faster, or the revolver is faster, or whatever else. It just depends on what you're willing to work with and how much time and effort you're willing to spend to learn to shoot your gun. As you can see in my hands today, there's not a dime's worth of difference in any one of the four on multiple targets. So, friends, what I'm trying to say is go out and shoot your gun.
You know, friends, there's not a lot that this 44 Magnum Ruger won't deal with if you had to face something with it. However, you can't always have this gun with you. And we have some things. Of course, here's our black box. And again, this week, no, I cannot show you what's in it. But there are some things in here that if you're concerned about your personal security, about security for your home, your car, your family, trust me on this one, you need to know what's in this box. You can find out what's in this box by calling us at 800-1-800-895-7916. You can also get a Bullet Express catalog at the same number. You just call us, and friends, we'll be real happy to let you know, and I think you'll be so happy you did. You know, friends, Soldier Fortune is really an entertaining magazine. Whether you like military features or not, they have all sorts of articles on things going on in this country and around the world that a lot of us are so concerned about. For subscription information, call them at 1-800-877-5207, 1-800-877-5207, Soldier Fortune Magazine. And all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. That zip is 68902. Their phone number, area 402-463-4589. MasterCard or Visa, subscriptions only, 1-800-345-6923. And now, friends, for our action shooting fans, let's watch a little bit of a previous USPSA Nationals match from a couple of years ago, and let's see what they're going to do.
8 IPSC targets. 2 of the IPSC targets are moving targets activated by one of the poppers. The stage starts with the shooter portraying a police officer. He has busted one coke dealer and has him handcuffed against the patrol car when the dealer's friends come back to ambush the cop. At the start command, the shooter will move to port A and engage poppers number 1 and number 2 and targets number 1 and 2. He will then proceed to door B and engage target number 3 and popper number 3, which will activate the 2 moving targets. He'll then move to box C and take out the last 3 bad guys. Our first shooter is just off a tremendous win at the 1990 Steel Challenge. Here is the current world speed shooting champion from the Philippines, Jethro Dionisio. Jethro Dionisio shows he can shoot IPSC with a hit factor of 5.31. Our next shooter is Doug Boykin. Doug's from Mesa, Arizona, where he shoots in the Cactus League. Doug Boykin finishes with a nice run as he turns around that corner to see if he had any misses on that moving target. His hit factor, 5.31. Our next shooter is one of the better women shooters here in the circuit, BJ Ratliff. BJ shooting with the team's Springfield Armory.
Well, friends, we've run out of time again, but we hope you enjoyed our program as much as we enjoyed making it for you. Remember now, let's all get together on the Shootin' Show Gun Club because we can help ourselves and help our country at the same time. Until next week, we'll look forward to seeing you on another Shootin' Show.